Hey everybody! Happy Tuesday night.
Hello,
How is
hello.
everyone doing? So it is your Team Candy Cane co-host here. Obviously, I'm Vanessa, and we have Hannah.
Hey, hey.
Um, you can tune in from either of our channels. So if you're tuning in from my channel, hello. If you're tuning in from Hannah's channel, hello. You don't have to be present on both, but if you want to be, that's great. So today we're going to be talking about Wreck the Halls. Which I believe a lot of us have read for the Rudolph prompt for the Reindeer Readathon, since it's a book that was set in 2023. And we have lots of fun questions for you, but I just wanted to see if Hannah had anything that she wanted to say before we kind of get started.
Actually, yes.
Sure.
So every year, it's like one of my missions. I think I've been doing it like 5 or 6 years now. I'm big on thrifting. And I fell in love with like a really ugly, like grandma sweater that was probably something was like hand knit. And I was like, this is so hideous that it's adorable. And ever since then, like every year, I just love to buy like an old grandma style sweater. And so, like, if it's like embroidered or has little designs, like anything like that is like what I look for. Like, the more over the top, the better. And this year, I just found this one. So we have a giant Santa,
I love
and there's
this.
like little sequins and all of these things. It's so over the top. I don't know how I'm gonna wash it, but it has candy canes all over it. And I was like,
How
this is the one.
cute.
This is it. It spoke
You're
to my
like the
soul.
cutest. I'm
Thanks.
just over here in my pajamas, my Christmas pajamas, because I took like an everything shower. So I washed my hair, shaved, felt glorious. And I'm just like, we're here to vibe, whatever. Like, I'm sorry I
That's
don't look as
honestly
cute
more
as
than
you.
no, that's more than me. I haven't taken like an everything shower in like a month. Like I'm on
Oh
winter
my goodness.
hibernation mode. Like these legs have not been shaved. They are
Oh
dry.
my goodness.
Nah.
But yeah, your
But
sweater is super cute. I love it.
it's called distraction techniques.
So we're gonna obviously be talking about Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. I don't know where I put my book. I think it's somewhere back there. But I like read a book and I put it away. Um, but we're gonna talk all things Wreck the Halls, and there will be spoilers. So in case you didn't realize, that's your warning. Um, that we're going to be spoiling the book or talking about the book. If you don't care, that's fine. I think I saw that Kristen says I've read the book, but I'm here to be spoiled. Or haven't read the book, but I'm here to be spoiled.
I mean, to be fair, it is also like a Christmas romance, and there are certain plot points, of course, to the story, but it's also like a romance. So, like, you can predict just about everything, maybe not exactly how it happens, but like for the most part, I'm sure the spoilers are pretty much expected.
Yeah. And so I guess Hannah, do you want to talk a little bit about like for those who have not read the book, give like a little synopsis of what the book's about?
Yes. So now that I've read it, like the back of the book, like I remember when we read it aloud to like
Oh,
figure out what it was about, I was like, what the hell is happening? Like, this is so confusing. There's so many different things. And now that I've read it, I'm like, okay, it wasn't actually as confusing as I feel like the back of the book made it seem like. But it is two rock star children. So there is a rock star duo that was once together, two women, and now they have adult children. Back in the day, that little duo, that band broke up. Nobody knows why. Fast forward to present day, there is this live TV show. It's very like modern because it's like live streaming on social media, but it's also going to be this like big Christmas special. They're trying to get the band back together. And by they, I mean those two adult children who coincidentally are named Melody and Beat because they are rock star children. And they have some sort of complicated feelings for each other now that they are spending time together because they know what it's like being this rock star child that's in the spotlight but not by choice, and all of those types of things that come along with it. So it's both their love story, but also will they or won't they get the band back together.
right.
So
Yeah, and we're gonna start talking a little bit about like um our thoughts, like first impressions, expectations that we had. But I want to just make sure we say hi to everybody in the chat because I know a lot of people are joining.
Yes.
Um, let's see, Elena's first, per usual. Hello, Elena. Hey, Nikki.
Hey, hey, hey.
Obviously, Hannah's joining. I am hyped. I feel this. Hey, Brianna. Hey, cool gamer. Oh, and Nikki says I love thrifting
Oh,
sweaters. Very cute.
thank you.
Hey, Michael, how are you doing? I think I'm doing okay, just feeling comfy, cozy, ready to discuss this book.
Mhm.
Let us know if you have any questions specifically. We have tons of questions that we're gonna like talk about, and you guys obviously can like drop comments about the books and the book and the questions that we have. But if you have other questions that you want to ask, certainly feel free to do so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely answer them like along with us because it's not really meant like it's supposed to be like a book club with you guys. So
Yeah.
it's less fun if we just talk to each other. We could have just FaceTimed and done that if that's
Right.
what we wanted to do. So please talk to us.
So our first question here, after seeing the cover and or reading the synopsis on the back of the book, what were your initial thoughts? What impressions did you have? Did you have any expectations? I'll let you go first.
Okay, well, I already mentioned I was pretty confused. I just felt like there was so much going on. And I think that's just whoever wrote the synopsis. I don't think the authors usually write their synopsis, but whoever put that together just tried to like jam together too many plot points. I feel like they could have left some of those things out. So I don't know. I was confused, but like I'm a Tessa Bailey girl, so like this isn't my first rodeo with her. So I was like, whatever. If she reads, like if she writes it, I'm gonna read it. And I also read a lot of holiday romance, so I'm like, all right, this can't be too complicated. I don't know. I was just
Mhm.
like excited. I was ready for it. I wasn't really expecting too much of anything. Like, I don't know. It's a Christmas romance. I don't think it's gonna change my world, but like I did like the whole like rock star angle. Like I knew like that was at least something I hadn't really seen before, which is nice because a lot of Christmas stories are kind of the same.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say like one of the first things that kind of came up for me were their names, and I just
Mhm.
like could not get over the name Beat. Like Melody's fine, and I get it. They're like part of the whole rock band type of deal. It's within theme. But the name Beat, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. So that like immediately reading on the synopsis, I was like, what the hell? But yeah, I kind of felt like you, it just the synopsis didn't hit in the way that I was like, it was confusing. I agree with
Mhm.
you. Um, I I think I have like I wouldn't say a love-hate relationship with Tessa. I generally like her stuff and I know her to be more of like a smuttier writer or a spicy writer.
Mhm.
I would say her writing's very different from like a dark romance kind of thing, but
Mhm.
she does have some spicy stuff at times, and I've only read a couple of things by her, so this is only my second holiday book by her. I don't know if she has more than just window shopping and
I don't think so. I
this
think
one.
she just has two Christmas, like
Okay.
just those two, I think.
Well, I had actually read window shopping right before this one, and I listened to both on audio. And I
Okay.
think I
Ooh.
had there's a difference when you're listening to something versus physically reading it because I think sometimes the narrator can make or break for you. I
Mhm.
liked the narrator for Wreck the Halls, but not window shopping.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
If
ask
that
you
makes
that
sense.
because I am like an audiobook girly. Like I've always got one. Like every single day I'm listening to an audiobook, but very rarely do I request a romance as like I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe that's just because I need to like do my research and figure out which narrators I like. But the
Mhm.
thing is like when you're reading a physical book or an ebook of like a romance book, you get to imagine everything.
Right.
And then once you're listening to it, you're like, oh, well, do I like this voice or not? Like, that's immediately now a factor of whether this story is going to work for me. And a lot of times it just doesn't. It's fine, but like, it's not like working, you know?
Right. So, I mean, I didn't know really what to expect going into the book. I think
Mhm.
I was just like here for a good time, just to
Yeah.
escape the real world and get into the holidays, holiday spirit.
The whole, like, thing with him being named Beat also makes me think of that, like, song that's like, "We got the beat, yeah, we" you know what I'm talking about? Like, I am not a singer, I don't know words, I'm really
That's
bad at
funny.
lyrics,
Oh
but,
my
like,
gosh.
every single time, I don't know.
Brianna said, being a Christmas romance, I get the cheesy aspects, names, meet ones, fall in love, but overall I enjoyed the uniqueness to the storyline and that it was an all female rock band. That's true. I did like that.
Hell yeah.
I also loved their mom's individual personalities.
Bree, I've got some good questions that you are gonna like.
Hmm
Stay tuned.
Nikki was excited because of the cover.
The cover is really cute, like,
I
I
I
really
agree.
like, it's a little busy, but, like, it works, I like it.
Hmm And we'll talk a little bit too. Well, I guess another thing I thought going into this is the book is marketed as a holiday romance, but I didn't get those like Christmassy vibes. I just
Mhm.
was like, oh, it's kind of like taking place in December or around Christmas, but you're not getting all the like Christmas trees and carols and lights and everything. Like maybe that was just how I felt, but
I agree. Like, it wasn't overly Christmassy, but, like, now that I didn't actually think about it because I literally read the whole book today because I am a procrastinator,
it's okay.
um,
Brianna did too. I'm calling you
but
out,
I also
Brianna.
put, like, the whole, like, YouTube, like, ambience room in the background with Christmas music, so, like, that already did it for me.
Ah, okay.
And so, like, I don't know, I just, like, was sitting there with my little, like, rice heat pack, and I had, like, my cozy little drink, and I had that in the background, and so, like, I was fine with that, but I also read, like sometimes I'll read, like, 10 Christmas romance books in a year, and then
hmm
it's just, like, I wanna throw up by the time I'm done because like, it's too much. So, I actually kinda liked that this one, I don't know, was just different, like, it was just kind of like, refreshing, but you're right, it
Yeah.
wasn't so Christmassy.
Honestly, there's some really amazing audiobook narrators for romance books.
Mhm.
Yes. I know like for guys, I do like Teddy Hamilton. He's in a lot of he's the guy for a lot of romance books.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else has other favorites. Um, oh, this is funny. The Beats. Remember the Nick cartoon Doug? Yes. There was like a I think it was a band. I think they were called the Beats or something like that. I knew what you're talking about, Nikki. The cover is cute. Definitely got me. I feel that. These narrators for Wreck the Halls haven't done a lot of other books though, so this was my first time hearing them. Yeah, I didn't recognize the names for these ones either.
Hmm.
I don't even remember who they were. Let's see. Narrators. Um, Brooke Bloomingdale and James Gloucester. Gloucester?
Okay.
I don't know how to say that. I literally did the same thing. She read it today. Even the Christmas ambiance in the background. Yeah, she was on my sprints earlier today, and I just saw her chapter page, like numbers going up, like chapter 4, chapter 10, chapter 13.
One thing about me is I'm always going to show up prepared, but like don't check in the hour before. Like
Yep.
shit's
Yep.
going crazy, but we'll be there and I'll be ready when I'm there.
Like Hannah put all these questions together, but I literally put them in the 5 minutes before the stream started. So speaking of these fun rock star names, Melody and Beat, um, what would you name these rock stars Spawn? You can, drop some serious or funny answers.
Like immediately, so the vibe is giving me, I'm not saying I would name them this, but like it kind of makes me laugh that she named them this because I feel like I don't know. I follow her on social media and I feel like Tessa's like just funny. Like she's a funny
Mhm.
person. And I feel like she just kind of did it to like see if she could get away with it. Like I feel like she almost kind of was memeing a little bit. But it reminds me of like the whole like uproar when Gwyneth Paltrow named her kid Apple. Like that's the vibe here. You know what I mean? Like that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, but I feel like they're also they're like they want to be so different from their parents that they probably would have a normal child name. Like
Mm-hmm.
their child would have the most normal like Ashley or something. No offense if your name's Ashley. But like I don't know.
What would
Um
you rename Beat to something you could stomach?
when I hear Beat Dawkins, I just think of this dorky kid. Like I'm just trying to think. I don't even know what I would name him.
Dawkins also gives me like Footloose vibes. Like he's gonna wear
Mhm.
cowboy boots, which isn't really
Yeah.
like rock star to me, which is fine. It's more like country star though.
I feel like I could see him having some sort of like edge boy, bad boy name. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know quite what that would be. Like an Ethan. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any cool musical terms right now.
I know. Like we need like a list of like musical buzzwords.
Dawson
Dawson.
would have been cute for me.
Dawson Dawkins.
Or Dawson Beat, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like change up the name.
Mm-hmm.
But they would have a child named Dave or Greg or something. And they would have 6+ kids. Yeah. All of these named Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Do. That's pretty funny. Um, let's see. So when we meet Melody,
Mm-hmm.
she is working at a bookshop, and I thought this was so cool because she's actually like restoring
Mm-hmm.
old, I guess, YA fiction books. Um, if and just like it's a such a weird job to have, I guess, because her mom's a rock star, so you would think like the child would have some like cool up there job. So here's the next question. If you had a famous parent, rock star parent, and you could have a chill job, what would you be doing as a passion-based career? Like if you didn't have to worry about finances. I don't know if that made sense how I said it.
I mean, it makes sense to me, but I wrote the question, so like,
I get what you're saying.
because like for her like they mentioned like their housing is already paid for. Like they're not paying their bills with their paychecks. Like that is their just like fun money. You know what I mean?
I love this. Cat cafe.
That's a good answer. That's a really good answer. Hmm.
Oh, I think this was for the last one. Nikki, if they did that 3 times in 12 hours, they would have way more than 6 kids. Oh my goodness. So if I could have like a chill job and not have to worry about finances, honestly, I would do something super cool. Like, I kind of, I think it would be cute, but I don't know if realistically I would like doing it. But honestly, owning like a bookshop that has a cafe in it,
Mhm.
like a bakery of some sort. Um, but I feel like just being a business owner would be kind of stressful. So I like this idea, the travel vlogger. Why
That's what
not?
I was gonna say, kind of like similar to what I'm already doing, but since we're doing like dream scenario here, I wouldn't be my editor. And it's not that I don't like I don't mind editing, but at the time that it takes to edit all that content, like I prefer creating the content and just
Yeah,
making it. I don't want to have to sit there and edit it all and put it to the right music and musicality. Like, please,
I
if
feel
someone
that.
could do that for me, that would be great. So I'll just do this, books and travel.
I feel that. Cat cafe is the perfect answer. I went on in that. I would live like a hobbit.
That being said, if I could do this somewhere where I'm like more remote in a prettier location, but like have good internet, that would be ideal. Beach.
How do you say this word?
I've always said higgy. I'm not sure if that's right, but I know what you're talking about, and that is how you
I've
spell it.
I've seen this word before. Let me see.
It's embracing the like cozy lifestyle. So everything about like the cozy casualness. So like things like like soft, cozy layers and blankets, candles, hot mugs of tea. It's just all those kind of like slow down, cozy, casual type activities and lifestyle.
So Google says hygge.
Hygge. Fancy.
Yes. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I've always thought about this because people have asked me before, like, if you could choose any job without worrying about finances, what would you do? And I always come up with that answer, and then I'm like, yeah, but I feel like it'd be just as stressful.
I also love that quote that I don't know who it is. It was just like something that like trended on TikTok where it was like someone asked that same question to this guy and he was like, darling, I do not dream of labor. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I really want to work. I don't have to, do I?
Yes, I feel this. Just, sit here and look beautiful. Just pay me, But I don't want to be like a model.
Just adored.
Yeah, just adored. So speaking of the characters, what did you all love about the characters? It could be main characters like Beat and Melody or their moms. So what did you love?
What was the name of his friend? Vance, something with a V, I think. I don't know. But anyways, his friend that we like met and that he was like hitting on Melody towards the end. I really liked that friend because I feel like when we first get introduced to like Beat's friends, you just see that like he keeps them all at like arm's length and he's like afraid to actually like let any of them in. And I really liked that character because like once we actually got like a moment with him, we're like, oh, like that was on Beat. Like these people are actually like real, genuine, fun people that do care about him. It's just like Beat keeping them like, I don't know, not close to him. But I really liked that character. Like I thought that was like a fun little addition in there.
Mm-hmm.
Random
Sorry, I was
side.
just dying over here coughing. Brianna said, I love Melody's humor. She has the same sense of humor as me, and I love their mom's carefree attitude once they both really opened up. Beat was sweet, but honestly, he needed to grow a backbone. I did like that about him, though. Like, I tend to be someone who, when I meet somebody new, I do really like that aspect of people who are just like so overly caring. Like they would do anything for you, not in a like, I guess I'm not someone who's like into someone who doesn't have a backbone, but I do appreciate when people are very, very sweet. Like they like I said, they do anything for you. So I did like that about Beat. And Melody, I liked that I think she had good character development throughout. I think like you eventually saw her like stick up for herself. Like I think she's very relatable in the way that you kind of like see some of her turmoil between her and her mom, and like I guess the anxiety about talking to her mom about some of the stuff that like kind of strained their relationship a little bit. But I feel like she was very relatable.
I liked how, like, I don't know, a lot of times I find the whole, like, she doesn't know she's beautiful kind of thing very annoying. And I feel like that's totally what it was, but like she didn't make it annoying. Like that's, I don't know, Tess always does this. She like takes a trope and like makes it somehow something I don't hate, which is always fun for me just because I'm like, oh, if you would have pitched me that for this book, I'd be like you and I wouldn't want to read it. But I don't know, I found her really like endearing because like she never would like she's shy and she's like quiet in her own little way, but like she wasn't super down on herself. Like it was just like a very relatable energy. But I love that like behind the scenes, like the whole internet was like falling in love with her, you know, and like everyone just like saw all of those qualities that she was shy about and like insecure about as something good, because I feel like that's like how I see my friends. And like if they were on a live stream, like everyone else would fall in love with them too, you know, but like they don't see that side of themselves. So like I don't know, I just found her really endearing. And I totally we'll get to it later, but I have like the perfect fan cast for her in my mind.
Well, like I know speaking of kind of like their romance and stuff, I'm
Mhm.
gonna skip ahead in some questions here, but a big part of this story was like insta love.
Mhm.
So, what did you guys think about the chemistry slash romance between the two? Like, do you feel like, meeting someone when you're what, 16 or something, and then basically falling in love at first sight, and then not seeing them again for 14 years and still being like, oh my gosh, like they're the one. Like, were you guys rooting for them?
Hmm. I mean, honestly, I would say like the plot itself was more interesting to me than the romance at points. Like I just really enjoyed like I don't know, it was very like cinematic. Like I could see this being like a movie for sure. And I just like enjoyed the like little adventures that they were going on, sometimes more than the actual romance itself. But like maybe this is extreme, but like I almost think of it as like Stockholm syndrome. Like they both have this like same problem. And they're like, no one else will ever get me. I'm so special and unique. And I will never relate to anyone except for this one exact person in the world. And like, I don't think the like teenager part is not believable because like I feel like I don't know when you're hormonal and you're like a teenager, you get like
Mhm.
these really big feelings.
Yep,
Exactly. It's
exactly what
crazy.
Brianna's saying. Yeah, so you like fall in love at first sight, and then I guess they're they're essentially like the same person. Oh, I'm like reading this in the book I'm listening to and reading right now is better than the movie. Sorry, this isn't about this book.
Oh, I want to read that.
But they're in like their teenage years. They're like seniors or something, or I don't know what year they are, but they're in high school, and they're essentially like emotions are on high, and the hormones and like the feelings, and I have a cookie being delivered to me. Okay, thank you.
Damn.
um but basically like the hormones being on high, and um kind of like there's a part in the book where it talks about like someone that she knew from childhood moved away, and
Mhm.
he came back, and she's like, oh, I don't want him to see me as like that little person anymore, like from when I was a kid. And it's kind of the same with this book, where I feel like they saw each other at 16, and then again they didn't see each other for 14 years, and so maybe at like 30 or whatever they're thinking that person is the same person I saw when I was 16. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? So like they haven't changed, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if that made sense, but
Yeah.
um, I left better than the movies. Sorry, different author, different book.
It's okay. Romance, it comes up.
Also, hi Samantha. I haven't read this, but I've heard a lot of reviews, so I'm interested in your thoughts. So yeah, stick around. um, Missed this comment. Did appreciate that Tessa brought to light how women are so scrutinized in the media versus men. That's a
Mhm.
really good point, actually. Um, so I guess when Melody was 14, they were like both on TV or something, right? And
Yeah.
she was getting scrutinized so much, like she was, you know, she didn't look good, or her appearance, something about her appearance, and then everybody loved Beat. Like Beat was amazing, and nobody could say anything wrong about him, but everything bad about Melody.
Mhm.
So this was like a good it was very like a small thing, but it was like a very good insight into how women are just so nitpicked over
Mhm.
just their appearance, right?
It makes me think of like politicians and how they talk about like a male can just like be a politician and just like show up, but like if you're a woman and you're a politician, it's all of a sudden it's like, what is she wearing in her outfit?
Yeah,
Oh, either like if it's too much, it's like, oh, well, she is like
like a
dumb or like she
slut or
cares too
something.
much, she's a slut, like all of these things that are negative in that way. But then if you go more like conservative and boring, like this is something like Hillary Clinton has talked about, that like all of a sudden now she was like perceived as being like stuffy and like just like the opposite where it's just like you damned if you do damned if you don't.
Right.
And I don't know, like no matter what, like we never win. And I can't imagine hitting puberty and being in the public eye like that. Like that's got to be awful.
That's why that Barbie movie was so good.
I was thinking of Barbie right now too. Aw.
um, well, on the flip side, what did you not like about the characters
Besides their names.
besides their names? I wrote down some things.
Oh, you
Okay.
have a list.
Um, let's see. Okay. This is I don't know how to bring this up, but Beat's bedroom preferences.
Oh,
Um, I thought it was a little weird. Like, okay, let me back up because I know everybody has different anxieties, when it
Mhm.
comes to the bedroom or about their bodies or whatever, right? Do y'all know what I'm talking about though? Like it was just odd. I guess if I were in Melody's shoes, I would feel like there's something wrong with me.
Hmm.
Like,
And she
I
kind
don't
of did
know.
though. She kind of like did get self-conscious about it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like with who I am, like my own personality in the mix, I would be like, no, like that's not gonna fly. Like,
Mhm.
we're gonna need to figure out something because no.
Yeah. I think it's hard because I think the second you make anything outside of the norm for like a bedroom scene, then like once again it becomes very like quick where like does that work for me? Doesn't work for me. Like it gets really like personal for every person.
Right.
I was trying to like I don't know, I weirdly got like objective about it. And I was like thinking about Tessa's written so many romance books now. Maybe this is like I don't know, I kind of like that like she tried to go outside of the bubble a
Mhm.
little bit because I'm sure there are people who like relate to that. And like I don't know, like how do I say this without being like TMI? But um as someone who's been in like a long-term relationship, half the fun of a romance novel is like exploring some of
Mhm.
that without like in a safe and happy way that like exists in a relationship, right? And so like getting to read about something that is outside of my own bubble, I was like, "Oh, this is kind of interesting." And
Right.
I actually kind of like I wouldn't say like enjoyed it, but I was like intrigued by it, I would say.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like I have a friend who's like, don't yuck somebody else's yum. Like
Yeah,
somebody
for
may
sure.
love to do what they do. So, okay, because we're spoiling stuff here. So, like, essentially, if I recall correctly, because I did read this a little while ago,
Mhm.
Beat has trouble finishing in front of partners and usually will finish by himself.
Mhm.
Um, and he has like never let another woman help finish.
Mhm. Mhm. Correct.
Okay. But yeah, his bedroom fears were so weird. It was cringe. What a weird way to punish yourself. And I feel this. That's why I was like, let me back up because I can see both sides, right? Like
Mhm.
again, not everybody's going to go into an intimate relationship and be able to just like perform, like a
Mhm.
a P star. I don't know if I can say that word,
Yeah.
the P word. Um, but not everyone's going to perform in that fashion, and obviously we have our own insecurities and things. But I'm glad that there was that communication piece in the book so that they
Mhm.
could overcome that.
Well, and I mean, this is really getting into the analyzing of the characters. But so I mean, I've been like fresh on my like Hunger Games reread and of course like watching the movie and stuff. And I kind of like thought of something right now. So Finnick obviously won the Hunger Games and he was like beautiful and the whole capital like loved him and like hypersexualized him as a minor and like all of these things happened because of his appearance. I feel like the same kind of thing was obviously happening with Beat. Like they like it was briefly mentioned that like he hit puberty and he hit it well. Like he was like 5'11" at like I don't know, 15 or whatever it was. And that like the whole internet was like, praising his beauty and all of that. And so they kind of like alluded to the rest of it. Like we didn't get a lot of clarity there. But I feel like he was always the one who was still kind of somewhat in the public eye, at least more than Melody was. And I feel like that's just got to be weird for a person like growing up. Like I understand at least him being vulnerable, and I don't know. That it is like something like super weirdly personable. Like I don't know. I kind of get it.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's just overall, like, I guess it's hard for me to imagine because
Mhm.
I'm not like the spawn of a super famous rock star. But I can imagine, like, you think about some of the celebrities in real life, like, I don't know, Kim Kardashian and Kanye's kids, like, when as they're growing up, I don't know why that was the first couple that came to mind, but like, as they're growing up, not only do they have some unique names, but just to have like parents who are super duper famous, like
Mhm.
how do these kids how is their environment changed based
Mhm.
upon just who their parents are and how they grow up because they're super wealthy and probably live in a very like affluent area, you know, don't have to worry about finances and stuff.
Mhm. I was trying to think. There's like a few times, I don't know, B occasionally would definitely get on my nerves. I'm trying to think of like specifics, but there were certain like phrases and like little things he would say sometimes where I was just like face palming, but like I don't know. I've read worse. He wasn't the worst.
So, one of the things I did like about this whole book was, again, like you said earlier, it wasn't just about their romance, but there was kind of like this other plot going on with
Mhm.
like let's get the moms back together, the band back together. And there was like this mystery element of like who's this blackmailer? What's going
Mhm.
on? Um but what were some of the reasons that maybe you guys suspected that the band broke up?
Mhm.
I kind of thought like there was just like personality differences because they kept making the moms out to be like just these big personalities and maybe they clashed. Kind of like you see with a lot of other real life bands that they've had these creative differences or whatever. And I feel like they're usually attributed to personality differences, but they're just trying to find a nice way to say it. And so they end up parting ways.
Mhm.
Obviously, I think they were alluding to potentially like a guy getting involved, which is essentially what happened.
Mhm.
I don't know if anybody else thought anything different.
There was this point where I like for like it was like half a page that I thought this, so it didn't last long. But there was this brief point where like they had mentioned both of the moms were pregnant at the same time and that like they didn't know like you didn't know yet who the dads of each were. And for a second I was like,
Right.
are they siblings?
I
Because
did think this too.
I can't. I'm gonna leave. I'm done.
I
But
didn't think Tessa would take us there, but I was scared for a while that like
mhm,
that they were going to
mhm.
be siblings and they were like falling in love or whatever, and I was
Yes.
like, okay, we don't need like an offshoot of Credence. Like I don't know if you've seen that or read that book by
No, I'm not interested.
yeah, so essentially like the premise of Credence is like the girl falls in love with her uncle. I think they're not related by blood. Uncle and the uncle's kids, her cousins. It's just weird. Like they're not even related by blood, but it's just weird.
Yeah, no, unsubscribe.
Yeah. I thought the same, especially with how descriptive she was with Trina and her nudist colony. Oh gosh, it's the Christmas gift that keeps on giving.
Mm. I don't know. Like, I didn't really have a theory on this one, actually. Like, I mean, it was mentioned that they were like both pregnant in their last show. And so, like, I just kind of figured hormones and tensions were high and who knows what. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I didn't really come up with anything.
Well, how did you predict the reunion with the mothers would go?
I thought it was going to be like harder to convince them to come together. Like, I didn't think they would have this like common goal type situation.
Mhm.
I thought like maybe it would be almost like more like Parent Trap ish or something. Like they would have to like trick the other one to get there, or be like, oh, they want you. I don't know. I just thought there would be more like shenanigans, I guess.
Yeah. I thought that's what a lot of the plot of the book was going to be, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it had some sweet moments, right? Like I think both of the, well, I think Beat and his mom were a little bit closer than Melody and her mom. So there was a lot of little plots going on within this book, which is probably why the synopsis sounded very confusing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's just so much stuff going on. But I think like it gave like some good I wouldn't say closure, but like just helped Melody and her mom's relationship kind of come together. Um like less strained, I suppose. But yeah, I think it was probably easier than I would have expected, especially with like how pop diva they could be. Oh, Nikki. I was waiting for the Credence reference. I honestly didn't think they'd make it to a reunion. I thought they would change the show to just be a romance for Beat and Melody. I mean, that's a good
I
alternate
could
theory
see that
too.
happening, like where they didn't get the band back together, but like nobody cared because like that was something they kept kind of like
Yeah.
teasing that like people came because of the reunion, but now they're like falling in love with watching you two fall in love.
Right.
And so they were kind of like setting us up to be like okay with it.
Hmm.
It's kind of interesting too because like the whole premise of it being like streamed live and there was like this audience component where like it's interesting because like we were kind of the audience also. And so
Oh
like
yeah.
whatever sentiments like the audience was saying, I was like, oh, that's kind of like what we're supposed to be feeling right now. Like it's just kind of like weird, but cool.
Yeah. Since you mentioned the live streams, would you tune into them?
I mean, if you're here, you probably like live streams.
Right. I probably would. I mean, I think like as the person who's probably being filmed 24/7, that'd be very annoying. Like I think about some of the shows that I like, such as Love is Blind, right? And how you do get to see people presumably fall in love. Like I don't think it's fake. It's fake to a certain degree, right? I know they script some stuff, but these people I think genuinely have feelings for each other. So it's like very interesting to watch them fall in love on screen, and you like really you don't really see their whole personality, but you definitely see like snippets, right? Um and I mean Tessa doesn't go, this is the point of the book is not to go into the behind the scenes of live streaming, but she doesn't go into all the like nitty-gritty details of um like how sometimes they'll be filming something. Well, this is filming versus live streaming, but like when you're filming, you can cut and edit things. When you're live streaming, you can't do that. So I mean, I know she doesn't like talk about that stuff.
I mean, maybe I'm like too inside baseball where like I do live streams and like I'm a content creator and like I've also been like the social media manager who is pressing record at like events for things. But like I found myself like getting really into it, like wondering like when they were recording, I'm like, can the cameras hear them right now? Is the microphone on? Who is the camera facing? Like, you know, and like what angles are they getting? Like I was into it. And I feel like that's why I would also be super curious to see like if it was a movie, what it would be like. I don't
Hmm.
know. I would definitely watch the live streams, but also the fact is like these are what they said 12 to 14 hours. Like I'm not going to be
Oh
watching it
yeah.
that much. Like I would be the person like I'd be doing what I do with Taylor Swift right now where like I go on TikTok later to get like the high points, you know? Like I'm still
Mhm.
very invested in what's going on, but like I'm probably not watching the whole thing. You, Brie, are you me? What's happening? It's
Oh, that's funny.
interesting though
Oh my
too.
goodness. Yes, exactly. Right?
Travis Kelce.
Oh my goodness. But
Oh,
yeah, I mean, it's just like, and Nikki says if the band had a book club. But yeah, I mean, I probably would watch it, but like you said, I probably wouldn't be watching for 12 to 14 hours of my
mhm.
day. I mean, if that's gonna happen, it's just sitting in the background, but I would want like the highlights because you're gonna get some of the boring stuff too, like they're eating.
But
They're
like, but think about, do you remember, was it 2020 when Katy Perry did like a 24-hour live stream?
I don't remember that. No.
Or it was like, maybe it was even more. Maybe it was like 48 hours. Like Katy Perry did like at least 24 hours of live streaming on like Instagram. I don't even think TikTok was like a thing yet. It was a while ago. And like, I don't know. I became like this weird person. Like, I didn't watch all 24 hours, but I found it like oddly fascinating where you're like, oh, you usually don't see this side of someone of like this caliber of celebrity. Like, these people are pretty private. And like, we're just seeing her like listening to other artists singing as she's cooking and like doing these little things that like, and she wasn't treating it like a fancy live show. She was just like, hey, like this is a day literally in my life. And it was super chill from at least the parts I saw. So seeing that, yes, see, like I think like I'm not above this at
Carol
all.
did it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, I guess it depends on like who it is. Um, yeah, I definitely would have tuned in probably longer to certain people. I think you have a point there, right? Like, just to see that this celebrity is, they're a human too, right? Like, just because they have this high status doesn't mean they don't do the same things as us. I guess it'd be interesting to watch, but after some point, I'd get probably bored of seeing the same thing over and over again. But I could see that.
I mean, it's someone said like depends on the band, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if this was like Daisy Jones and the Six, their children. Like we would all be freaking out. Like that would be
Right,
so cool.
right. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some times where, there's like shows that I watched when I was younger, like Teen Mom, okay? Do
Mm-hmm.
you like remember the original cast?
I watched a little bit of it. Yeah.
Well, if you like remember some of the original people, there was like this one girl, I don't know if she's OG, but I know she was on one of the earlier ones. Caitlin and Tyler Baltiera, Caitlin Lowell, Tyler Baltier. They had a kid and they gave the kid up for adoption, and they like periodically see the kid. So it's like very interesting because I want to know like where are they now, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
think I would, relating it back to this book, that's kind of how I'd feel like if I saw their interview or whatever they did when they were 16, I'd be like, "Oh, where are they now? Like let's watch this live stream."
Mm-hmm.
Um let's see. Okay, I know you're dying to get to this question here. What actors would you cast as Beat, Melody, their mothers?
Okay, so I have two of the four. I don't have the other two. Like I cannot picture the other two. But for Beat's mom, I picture like Cher. Like I
Hmm.
feel like Cher because like she literally came into the room like wasn't it like there was like I don't know like on one of those things that like princesses and like queens come in on with like men carrying it and like lions and stuff.
Yes.
And I was just like, I don't know, she gives me like Cher energy, is like what I thought of. Just like super iconic, like doesn't give a F about literally anything and says it how it is. And like, I don't know, just kind of this like one name celebrity that's like larger than life. Like that
Hmm.
was my vibe for her. And then for Melody, it's actually another character, like an actress as a character, but Amelia Clark specifically in Me Before You when she was like this quirky little lovable person that like everyone couldn't help but like fall in love with, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's the energy. So that's what I came up with.
Anybody for Beat?
I mean, did she say like what color hair, anything? I don't remember a single thing, but I'm also really bad at like reading a physical description. Like my brain just makes up whatever I want or nothing.
I don't recall. I mean, I usually just picture them how they are on the book. And sometimes that's not always good because the person portrayed on the book is
Mm-hmm.
not how they portray them in how they describe them in the writing.
Mm-hmm.
But like the characters they're literally here on this screen.
Mm-hmm.
I just imagine them as two brunettes.
No more filling in the blank. That was it.
Brianna says Andy McDowell for Trina and Margaret Qualley for Melody.
Real sister or mother daughter duo.
I don't know these people. This is
I
why I
do.
was like, this is a you question because I'm so bad with stuff like this. I'm gonna Google Margaret Qualley.
Okay, this isn't really like who I thought he would like look like or anything, but like his energy of like the way they described him growing up, low-key reminds me of how Prince William used to be. This kind of like charmer, very like handsome, looks like his mother, like not like the hair or anything like that. Like I don't think they actually would look alike. But something about like that vibe of him when he was younger is kind of how I picture Beat, but
Yeah.
like a little bit cooler, you know?
I could see
But like
that.
very classically charming.
Melody looks like Zoe Deschanel, the cartoon, just based on the screen.
I
I
can
could see
see
that.
that. And she's like a book restorer. Like she's probably very like twee cutesy girl for sure.
Right, right.
That's actually a really good call. Any brunette with glasses. I
Yeah.
don't know. I can't
Yeah,
think of
Beat is a little harder to cast, in my opinion, for this.
I'm gonna think on it.
I don't know why, but like, well, not necessarily could see. I can't think of her real name, but Moira from Schitt's Creek
Oh yeah, that kind of big
as
personality.
being like one of the moms.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
I
Not necessarily
wanted.
mom, but maybe Melody's mom.
Or the producer.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I kept like in my brain wanting to cast Stevie Nicks as one of the moms just because like I love Stevie. But then she like also got brought up as like someone they mentioned. And so then I was like, well, she can't be Stevie because they
Oh,
mean Stevie. Like, like I don't know, my brain got confused. But also not that I know anything about Stevie Nicks, but like I don't feel like she's as like sassy as either of these
yeah.
women are. So, but like her type of like her level of rock star is like what I think the moms are, you know?
Mm-hmm. What
Yes.
about what about like the dad, the Beats dad, biological, the one who's
Mhm.
blackmailing?
Fletcher.
Fletcher, yeah.
Mm.
You know who I could see? I think his name's John Hamm.
Oh, someone who can be like a little smarmy.
Yeah. Like, is that him? He played the bad guy in The Walking Dead, right? Is that the right guy
I
I'm
don't know. I
thinking?
didn't watch very much of it. He's in that show that I also didn't watch, Mad Men, right? That's him.
I'm so bad with movies and shows. I'm trying to think if he's the guy. Who is the bad, like you guys, Joanna probably knows in the chat, but who is the bad guy? He had the um baseball bat with the nails in it. Like
Oh. I know. He's the same guy who is on Grey's Anatomy. Wasn't his name like Deacon or something? Omar. Why doesn't he listen to me? He loves that show.
baseball bat guy. Just Negan.
Negan, close, okay?
Okay. This was not John Hamm. Okay, I thought it was John Hamm. The
Jeffrey
guy's name
Dean
is Jeffrey
Morgan.
Morgan. I
Yeah.
see him. That's who I immediately thought of as like the bad guy.
And the like not biological dad, I picture as like a like Stanley Tucci kind of guy.
Let me
Do you
see.
know what I'm talking about? Just like very like chill, kind of businessy, professional, very cool, and always nothing bothering him, you know?
I saw him as like more of a chill, sweet guy, like nurturing. I mean, that's kind of how they described him.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball bat guy. OMG, so many are gonna pop up.
Hey, we
Actually,
got
I typed in The Walking Dead baseball bat guy, and that came up. Um, Grace and Frankie vibes.
I always wanted to watch that.
Chad Michael Murray for the bad guy, or for Beat.
Yeah, who for who?
Maybe Jane Fonda or Lily Tomlin for Melody. Is
Jane
that right?
Fonda probably for the mom, and then Lily for the right.
I don't know. I know nothing.
Jane would be a good mom character. Hmm. I also kind of
Um,
just thought of like any of the moms on Mamma Mia, like Meryl Streep would be good.
another
Meryl
movie
Streep,
I haven't seen.
Vanessa.
I am so bad. Oh my goodness.
Meryl Streep could do anything. Anything.
Oh my goodness. Both honestly, I was thinking, but I was thinking Biodebt. Oh, for Chad Michael Murray.
He
Okay.
usually doesn't play like super villainy. I mean, I didn't really watch him on Riverdale. Maybe he got more villainy on there. But like Chad Michael Murray, like in real life, when I see him do like interviews for One Tree Hill and like the outfits he wears, like he gives me villain vibes in real life, but like not the characters he plays. Like I'm
So
like,
you
what are
know
you
what's weird is like I did the thing that I was saying earlier where I remember seeing him in A Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff,
doing?
and I can't picture him as anything else but that boy,
Hmm.
like his young version, his young
He
him.
kind of always looks the same though. Like he hasn't changed that much.
True. I mean, he looks obviously a little older, but like
Hmm.
he definitely looks like a baby in that movie.
Yeah. In Riverdale, it's weird because he like plays a dad. And I only watched like a bit of it, but I was like, oh, this is odd because I'm also like a Gilmore Girls junkie. And so, like, watching Gilmore Girls, he's obviously around the same age as also One Tree Hill and also the Cinderella story. So they're all kind of same.
I guess we'll ask like two more questions. One of them being, you know that how Tessa is a spicy, usually characterized as a spicy author. So I'm curious, or we're curious, how did you like the level of heat, the spice in the novel? Like, what did you guys think about this, I guess, maybe in comparison to some of her other books?
Hmm.
Oh gosh. So, okay, a funny side story. Last night, actually, this whole past week, we've been watching Scott Pilgrim, the animated show.
Hmm. Okay.
And I actually told my partner, because I've seen him all the time watching one of the music videos for the song where his ex comes out. I don't know what it's called. But I was like, I've never seen Scott Pilgrim. So we watched it last night.
Hmm.
Michael Cera, obviously isn't the main guy in the show. Loved that movie. Um, anyways, the first time I saw Chad Michael Murray was Dawson's Creek. Wow. So I thought the spice wasn't as spicy as her usual. Okay. Brianna liked the spice level. And Nightbot wants you to remember to hydrate, by the way, because it's too spicy. Just joking.
Ha.
I read same time next year, right after, and it was way spicier.
That's a novella, right?
Yes, I did read that
Is
one, and
it?
I liked it.
Is it New Year's Eve or is it just like okay? Because I was thinking about reading it on like this break.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember reading it and really liking it. I got the arc off of NetGalley.
Hmm. I just got the arc literally yesterday of Fangirl Down, which is
Ooh,
Tessa's next book.
that's
So
exciting.
I'm actually very, very excited.
She's
And
popping out books. Jeez.
keeping me busy.
I crashed a party one time in Hollywood. Michael Cera was there. Oh, interesting.
I'm still trying to think. I know like I feel like her most popular series is the like wow, the
It,
Bellinger Sisters
it
series.
happened one
Mhm,
summer.
yeah. My brain was like putting that title with like five other titles right now, and I forgot what it was called. But I think that those were spicier from what I remember. I did read them like years ago.
Mhm.
But I felt like it was like pretty on par of what she usually writes. I don't know. Like
Mhm.
I wasn't surprised one way or another.
I'm not like super well versed in the Tessa world. Like I feel like I've read a handful of her books, and I feel like I guess I don't really know what is her usual. I think the
Hmm.
first book I read by her was My Killer Vacation, and I
Okay.
thought that was spicy for her because I will say there's obviously different levels of spice. Like reading some dark romances, I'd be like, whew, cannot
Mhm.
need to dump a bucket of ice water on me. But like, I mean, this is kind of, in my opinion, probably like right up her alley.
Mhm. Yeah, pretty on par. I would
Um,
say so. I don't think she's, like, one of the spiciest ones out there, but probably more. I mean, if you're, like, not really reading any spice and you go into one of these books, like, it's gonna knock your socks off. Like, it is more than the average for sure. Because I feel like when I first read Tessa's books, I was like, "Whoa," but now it's been years of me reading romance, so there's no more shock factor for Tessa's
yeah,
books, but that's okay.
I feel that.
Mhm.
That happened one summer,
I
or
love
it happened
those.
one summer is a fun one.
They're so good.
I need to enroll my son at this soccer place. Apparently, it's across the country, but worth it.
Oh,
Oh,
to
oh, this comment. Okay. Chad Michael Murray coaches soccer at the same park my best friend's kids play soccer at. Oh,
you're gonna go to all your best friends' kids' soccer games then, I'm guessing, and so will we.
that's
Tell us
funny.
where and when, and we will be there.
I felt like this one was a little more slower burn than her other books, but I'm not complaining.
I felt
I
like it
mean,
was more like plot, like than romance in some of her other books because there was so much
which I
other.
did not mind.
Mm-mm.
I'm someone who I've read some different some reverse harems before, and oh gosh, like I don't know if you read reverse harems, but like Court of Nightmares was one of the first ones that come to mind, where they're literally doing it with seven dudes, and I'm like, okay, where's the plot? Like all we're doing is just talking about different ways to do the same sexual acts, and I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know, like time and place for that, but like that reminds me of like one of like the only Katie Robert books I read was like that. Court of Vampire Queen, I think it's called that one. And I've just like that's how I felt like it was like this long and like that's the whole book. And I was expecting there to be like more about like the vampires because I love
yeah.
vampire stories. So I was just kind of like that
But no, some
part's
people are here
gone.
for that, so like,
I
you
don't
do
know.
you,
I like
boo.
both. I like both. I like plot and spice. Yes.
I still have
Right.
not read this one.
I always pitch them to people as like the Disney Channel original movie Cowbells with Allie and AJ. If that those they were the sisters, but like grown up adult women, and they still were like these daddy's little rich girls who are spoiled, who have always been given everything, and now need to go live some like real life lessons, and they get sent away. It's like the vibes, which is also kind of like Simple Life of like Paris and Nicole, also a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it reminds me of, and it's great.
You weren't missing anything, Nikki. It was just a long book about weird stuff. But anyways, last question we have for you guys tonight is what would you rate the book? What did you give it, Hannah?
I'm still marinating on it. I like to give it like a day or two
Yeah,
before
you
I
did
like
just read it, so.
yeah, before I like put the answer like in my app. I did already submit the points for Team Candy Cane because I was like, I'm not gonna
Woo!
forget. But I don't know. I was looking at like the Discord and I've been like keeping up as people have been like checking in and reading it. And I feel like so many people are just like not impressed by it. And like I guess maybe I am just like a Tessa Bailey apologist or something.
That's
But
okay.
like I don't know. I think it's like a 4 or 5. Like it's a Christmas romance. Like once again, I'm not expecting that much. And for what it was, like it gave me spice, it gave me interesting characters, it gave me a plot, it gave me something that I haven't seen before. Like what more could I want? Like I don't know.
Yeah. And that's
Like
okay. It's we all have our different like reading preferences and like
mhm,
what we think is 5 stars or 1 star or whatever. Like,
mhm.
again, don't yuck somebody else's yum, right? Like some people think that books that are 5 stars, I'm like, that's terrible. Like, or vice versa, right?
Mhm.
But we just all have our own experiences that we bring to the table and what we like and what we don't like. So it's okay. I probably land somewhere right in the middle. Like I enjoyed it, so I probably like at a 3, like a solid 3. I enjoyed it, didn't hate it. I mean, the only major thing I would say I hated about it, which wasn't even a hate, because she actually did it pretty well, was the insta love.
Mhm.
Like I thought it was a little cringy, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
November 9th cringy by Colleen Hoover, where it
Mhm.
was just like, I mean, a beat wasn't like puppy dog energy, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like he was like a golden retriever.
No, he wasn't. I don't know. He was bearable. He
Mhm.
had his like cringe moments, but overall, like he wasn't. He had, I don't know, redeeming moments too.
So it wasn't a terrible book, but it wasn't like my favorite, and that's okay.
They're definitely like one of those couples that if you met them in real life, like Melody is like the interesting one of the relationship, though.
Yeah.
You're the one that like, I don't know, like she's the one that everyone gravitates towards, and you're like, oh, she makes him better. But like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? But like, she doesn't really need him, but he needs her, kind of a thing. That's the vibe I pick up on with them.
Right. Well, Brianna says 3.75, and I think Joanna may have given it a 4 or
Mhm.
maybe rounded up on Goodreads. I remember seeing her rating. I don't want to
I
speak for
don't
her.
give like half or like whatever, just because like I just do whatever Goodreads does so that it can just be the
Mhm.
same across. Just because like I don't know, type A, I need consistency.
No, I feel you.
So if
Do you
they ever,
ever do call pile reviews? Like, do you rate that way? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay. So Cawpile, it stands for, it's like an acronym. So it's CAWPILE.
Okay.
And basically it stands for like characters for C, atmosphere slash setting, writing style for W, I think P is plot, I is interest, intrigue, L is like the logic of the relationships, like did it kind of make sense and flow? And then E is enjoyment for like the overall enjoyment of the book. And there's like this whole system that essentially you're rating each of those little categories on a scale of 1 to 10. And then you add up all of the numbers and divide by 7. And there's like a certain range. Like if the book is between 9 to 10, it's a 5 star. If it's between 7 and 8.9, it's a 4 star. So it helps give you this very methodical, methodical way of
Yeah, you're there.
of like quantifying your rating, and it's actually helped me figure
Hmm.
out like when I'm thinking, oh, I think it's like a 3.75 or something. It helps me understand like how to put it into Goodreads and like truly give it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 star rating, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. My partner's the same way. He's like, don't give half stars. Like that's stupid. It's whole numbers. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like
I like the idea of them, and I feel like they make sense. It's just like I do like read books for reviews for publishers, and I feel weird if like on Goodreads I give something like a 3 or a 4, and then like somewhere else I'm giving it something different. Like I don't know why it feels like I'm like dishonest or something.
I see what you're saying because I know like what net Storygraph has half ratings,
Mhm.
but like
Mhm.
Goodreads doesn't. So that I mean that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Um
No, I really like the idea of that, but I also think that like I don't really like writing reviews, and I don't really like honestly, half the time I don't like even like rating a book, but I just do it for like the reviews because of like getting the book for like, as an exchange and whatever. I feel like it's like part of the deal, but I don't know. I don't really like that part of the process, and so I feel like if I had to take the time to like do math, I'm gonna hate it even more.
yeah.
And so I kind of just like to do like the ratings based off vibes and have it mean what it means to me. I know that's not the
Mhm.
best system, but it's
No, I
also
mean,
just
I've done
like
that before too. Sometimes I get like super into it though, and I'm like, I would like to see if
Mhm.
what I vibed with actually lines up with this system. And I have actually been very, very on par. So I know that my
Hmm.
vibe check is good with this Cawpile review system.
Well, that's cool.
Um, yeah.
It's interesting.
It wasn't a 4 star, but it wasn't a 3, so I decided on 3. That's how like that's what I mean. Like sometimes when you have a 3 star book or whatever, but you're like, it's a little better than like this other 3 star book. Like just a little better, you know?
Mhm. I
I
saw
get
this
that.
TikTok today was like, can we all just agree that all 5-star books are not the same? And
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? That's true. Because like obviously like my favorite books that I love so much, some of those are going to be 5 stars, but also some books I know are just like objectively written really well and do really great. They're not going to be my favorites, but like that doesn't make it not a 5 star.
Right.
Also, sometimes you round up, or at least I do. If I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I feel like the reason that I'm going down isn't a very good reason," sometimes I'll just round up, and then in my review, I'll be like, "I might have been closer to a blah, 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 but I rounded up because this was really great."
Mhm. And, we have to remember that ratings are very subjective. Like,
Mhm,
again, a 5 star for me is not going to be the same thing as a 5 star for Hannah or for Bree. Like,
mhm,
we're all different.
mhm.
So,
I feel that.
Kristen wants to know. She said, I haven't read it, but I'm curious if it was super Christmassy. I'm often let down by the lack of Christmassy vibes in holiday romances.
Then this is not the one for
Yeah.
you.
So it's the vibe on the cover is cutesy and Christmassy, and the even the name is Christmassy, but I would say it just takes place pretty much around December
Mhm.
and maybe some stuff like
And they're not even, like, doing very many holiday activities. There's, like,
yeah.
one, and then, like, the show is called Wreck the Halls, and, like, that's about it. Like, it's just not very Christmassy at all.
Mhm.
I don't know if, Kristen, if you read The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score, but I think, like, that's my favorite of all of the Christmassy romances that I've read that, like, delivers on story, plot, all of the things, but also, like, Christmas.
Mm. And are you gonna read her golf romance? Is that the one that you just got that's coming out?
Mhm. Yeah, so it comes I just checked when I saw that comment. It comes out February 6th, and it's called Fangirl Down. So it is, let's see. It's gonna be a new series by her that's called Big Shots. So I think it's all gonna be like sports romance is the vibe.
Okay.
Let's see. So apparently the like synopsis of this one was he was like a golf's rising hottest star, and now his like career is tanking, everything's going bad, and there is just this like beautiful sunny redhead that's always on the sidelines just cheering him on, so it's very much giving grumpy sunshine vibes. And then he decides to throw in the towel, and then he wonders like why did she care so much, and she kind of like, I don't know, gets him back into the game, it sounds like. It sounds fun. It sounds cute.
Yeah. I mean, I might, but it might not be like a priority for me. I think I'm at that point where I don't want to buy too many more romances because honestly, I'm not remembering them as well. And like, I
Mhm.
don't know if I would reread them again unless it's something that I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. Um, I tend to remember much more like fantasy books better, like fantasy romance books. So I'm fine buying those, but I think I might like check it out from the library kind of thing.
Mhm.
Plus, she's got so many books. She's gonna break my bank alone.
Mhm. That's true.
But I don't know if Hannah, if you had any other thoughts or comments about the book that you wanted to kind of bring up.
No. I don't know. Not that I can think of. If you guys think of fan casts later, tag me in your stories because I'm
Yeah.
still stuck on. I don't. It's bothering me that I can't picture who Beat is. I don't know.
Well, I can say this for both of us that we definitely appreciate you all for tuning in tonight, from again either of our channels or both. And if you could do us a favor and just hit the like button and subscribe to either to both of us if you're not subscribed already. Um, and yeah, we just super duper appreciate you hanging out with us tonight and talking about the book.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out. This was fun. It definitely pushed me to read another book and check it off for the reindeer readathon, which I appreciate because sometimes I need a fire under my butt to get things done. So that was fun. And I mean, I feel like romance usually just like people read them, but you all read them quickly. So I don't like get to talk about them with people. So it's kind of fun to like pick it apart a little
It
bit.
is
Like I enjoyed
fun.
it.
Yeah. I would
Mhm.
say this is also like the first live book discussion I've been a part
Mm.
of, so it's kind of fun, like just getting to do this, and I guess it also helped me remember the book a little bit better
Yeah.
too, because I had to know what was going on.
True.
But yeah, um, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Of
Mhm.
course, much appreciated, and keep doing amazing in the reindeer readathon. Keep reading
Mhm.
those books. The year's not
And
over yet.
yes, I am sprinting tomorrow. I am the host. It is also same time as this stream was today. So that was what, 8 p.m. for
PM
you
Eastern.
Eastern?
Yep.
6
Hmm.
p.m. for me Mountain Time. And I am going to do Christmas cozy pajamas. So feel free to also show up in your cozy pajamas. And yeah, we'll be reading. I don't know what I'm reading yet.
If I show up in these pajamas again, it's because I did laundry. So don't think I'm like dirty.
I wear pajamas like 3 days in a row. So I wouldn't have thought a thing. Like, I feel like you need a few days. You're fine. You're fine.
But yeah, this is like my favorite one.
Awesome.
But yeah, thanks again, guys. And we will see you hopefully tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific,
Okay.
and all those times in between.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye, friends. Thanks for hanging out.